guys, Jonah here, back with another beer review, and we are doing another one from the Manchester Beer 52 box, and we're doing another German style today, which is the third German style, and all of these were brewed by Fierce Brew, but this one, whoops, is actually the first that actually says Fierce Brew, which is from Aberdeen. And I've worked out that the reason why Fierce Brew are in a magazine talking about Manchester is that Fierce Brew have opened a bar. And this is called Thomas St. Dunkel. It's actually a Dunkelweizen, traditional German dark style. Well, it says dark style lager, and that we'll talk about that in a minute. Packed with notes of freshly baked bread, toffee, and chocolate. Very malty, carafa, wheat malt, and melanoidin malt in there. And it depends how literal you want to be with these. There is the can. So, if you can see on there, this beer is called Thomas St. Dunkel, but it also says Dunkelweizen on here. And it's 5% on the ABV. As some of you may know, Dunkel as a beer essentially is just a German dark lager, but a Dunkelweizen is a dark wheat beer. So essentially they're two different styles, and I don't know if Fierce Beer has tried to combine them together, but we'll see what we can do by reviewing this beer. I quite like the label. Obviously the Fierce Beer logo is a kind of evil hop looking at us, but look at the street, is quite quite crazy. It's a sort of street scape Fierce Beer. There we go. And is that the Fierce Beer bar? Perhaps, maybe in Manchester. I'm not actually sure. Traditional German dark lager. Well, like I say, not strictly two. Artwork by Grace Sharp, if you want to kind of chase her up for a beer logos. Brewed in Aberdeen, and it definitely has wheat in this bad boy. So I would say this is definitely a Dunkelweizen, not a straight Dunkel beer. So it's kind of labelled, I don't know, wrong maybe. So, or perhaps their understanding of what the beer should be is wrong. It's like saying a lager is the same as a wheat beer, and they're not really. Dunkelweizen as a style started actually in Bavaria before I think it was part of Germany, so a long time ago. And they didn't have to worry about such things as the German purity laws. So we're talking sort of 15th century, 16th century, something along those lines. So let's see. I mean, you could argue perhaps that a Weiss beer is a form of lager, but I think they're two separate things. Right, let's try one of these. Get my finger in front of that, and then kind of do a cheesy grin, as I am wanting to do. And look at that, we have well over a finger's head, not as much as 1 1/4, say. And look at that, lovely fluffy, just off white, fine bubbles, carbonation bubbles. You can't really see, but if you look at the bubbles, you will see new bubbles appearing, which is a good sign. So think of this as like a dark lager with wheat in it. Oh, it's all about the malts. We're going to get a nice sweet kind of thing as well. Yeah, there is that hint of sweetness on there. Yeah, like a sort of like a toffee, like a caramel kind of thing. Like a German death lager. Um, Strength wise, I'm not sure if I said, but it's only 5%. Dunkels, if you're being traditional, are probably 5% and up, but it's not unheard of to have a 6 or 7% bad boy. I don't know if you can see. I think the way that cap's formed on there is absolutely gorgeous. And it's not jet black. I know it looks quite black, but if you look down here, definitely dark conker colour and not like a black, like a stout or something like that. I'm really looking forward to this because I really do like this style of beer. Um, let's see what we get. Cheers and beers, guys. Oh, by the way, if you are enjoying this waxing lyrical about German beers and all sorts of beers, please think about subscribing down below and definitely click like. It really does mean a lot if you click like on my videos. Cheers and beers, guys. Let's dive in. Oh, very interesting. It's less malty than I thought it would be, especially when considering the darkness of this beer. Mm, but it's definitely kind of a sweet, and I'm getting some of that. You know, if you get a Hefeweizen, uh, which is where Dunkelweizen is the dark version of Hef, I guess. Um, you get that kind of sweet banana-y type thing going on, which comes from the yeast essentially used. I'm definitely getting the sweetness. Am I getting the banana? I don't know. Maybe it's more of a I was going to say toffee apple, but that's not it. It's like a pudding sweetness. So like hmm, like a sort of duff, a plum duff, or a sort of spotted dick, or something like that. That sort of pudding. There is also there is a level of bitterness to this beer. Don't get me wrong, but if you're a hophead, this probably wouldn't do it for you. This is for more of a malt monster. Um, I would say, hmm, yeah, it's definitely not like a lager. I mean, it's kind of a dark lager, or that's what a dunkel is. I think I said that at the beginning of the video, but it is something more as well because it's got the wheat in there or the wheat malt. Um, you're definitely getting different layers to this beer, but it doesn't have the sharpness that a normal German lager would. And this, my dear friends, is definitely not a normal German lager. Oh, there is a little bit of coffee there, um, but pardon me. I guess because of the wheat in there, it just takes the edge off everything and it makes things nice and smooth, but in a slightly different way that oats does. It doesn't give necessarily that creaminess um, hmm, that I think you would get from oats, or even a mix of wheat and oats. But wheat definitely has its own distinctive kind of flavour in a beer, um, and sometimes a touch of rye as well. You can put in a sort of Dunkel style beer or a Dunkelweizen style beer. Ooh. Pardon me. I did say it was well carbonated, dear viewer, didn't I? There's definitely some. I don't want to say chocolate because it's not. It's not quite chocolate, but it's more of a toffee caramel character. Um, or if you drink, especially if you're in the UK and you have ever drunk special brew or those type of really strong death lagers, German death lagers, Norwegian death, like death metal, yeah, rock and roll. No, that sort of really strong lagers, and they taste kind of sweet and malty. This kind of has that, but it's only 5%, so you don't need to worry about, losing your mind and sitting in a doorway on the high street, which unfortunately is what, yeah, special brew does. That's Carlsberg, isn't it? So that's Denmark, isn't it? I think it's a Viking brew. And now that last sip, which I do find tends to concentrate, especially with dark kind of matter, dark particulates, um, getting more of a fruity kind of fruit cakey kind of thing going on. Maybe a bit of plum, um, that sort of kind of thing. So definitely reminding me of a cake or maybe even a battered sort of pudding with definite assortment of fruit. It's not a light cake either. Although this isn't a heavy beer, this was reasonably light beer, um, but it definitely had those kind of dark fruit type vibes, which is really nice. I like dark beer. Some people they really don't like dark beer and they will just die for pale ales and IPAs. However, Fierce Brew, Dunkel, or Dunkelweizen, depending on your point of view, I would say this goes more with the Dunkelweizen than the traditional dark lager Dunkel. Thomas Saint Dunkel or Thomas Street Dunkel, maybe. Not sure the pronunciation of that bad boy. If you're up in Scotland, why not let me know in the comments below? What do you think about Fierce Beer? They definitely have their ups for me, but they also have had their downs as well. Guys, this has been Unclejona drinking German beers, so you guys don't have to. We'll be back tomorrow with the last of this small mini series. So this will be the fourth beer, the fourth German style via Manchester, via Aberdeen. We'll see you tomorrow. And until then, guys, you take care of yourself, take care of each other, and remember, drink some beer.